We've come together to discuss a subject that is as challenging as it is important, a subject that touches the very core of our existence, the problem of suicide. It's not just a topic for intellectual debate or philosophical reflection. It's a matter of the heart. It's about the lives we live, the choices we make, and the impact we have on each other. It's about understanding the gravity of loss, the pain of those who suffer, and the light of hope that can still be found even in the darkest moments. I want to offer you a perspective that is both logical and spiritual, one that draws from the depths of human experience to the heights of spiritual wisdom. My hope is that through this journey, we might come to see life in a new light, one that is sacred, interconnected, and profoundly meaningful, and that this will blossom into a new love for life as well. Let's begin with logic, with the facts of our existence. Think about this for a moment. None of us chose to be born. We didn't select our parents, our race, our ethnicity. We didn't choose where or when we would enter this world, or how we would come into being. These are the fundamental aspects of our lives, and they were beyond our control. We didn't choose the what of our existence, what we would become, or what our lives would entail. We didn't choose the who our parents would be, what family we'd be born into, or who would influence our early years. We didn't choose the how we would enter this world, through what circumstances or conditions. We didn't choose the why we were born at all, what purpose or meaning our lives would hold. We didn't choose the where in the world we would start this journey, in what country, in what environment, and we certainly didn't choose the when, the exact moment in time when our lives would begin. Given these truths, I pose a critical question. If we didn't choose our entry into life, how can we claim the right to choose our exit? Logically, the existential conditions of life, including the circumstances of birth, are completely beyond our control. Then, the deterministic circumstances of our death would logically be of the same category. Continuing with this logic, it would mean that each of us has a moral responsibility due to the universal impact that suicide has. The interconnectedness of life and death, in many ways, are beyond our control. It's like two great forces that shape the very essence of our being. If our entrance into this world was not ours to dictate, can we honestly say that our departure should be any different? Is it logical to assume that we, who had no say in the beginning, should have the final word in the end? There is real value in resilience. Since life's challenges are often seen as tests or opportunities for growth, one might understand that resilience, persistence, and perseverance in facing these challenges are fundamental to achieving a meaningful existence. Therefore, efforts to build resilience might be crucial in addressing suicidal thoughts. By building up our emotional strength, we can learn to better adapt and recover from adversity and develop practical methods to cope with suicide ideation. By studying the patterns in cases of suicide and related suffering, common factors include mental health issues, lack of support, and unmet needs. Addressing these common factors through systemic changes could potentially reduce suicide rates. Further, observing that people who find purpose and meaning in their lives often report lower instances of suicidal thoughts could conclude that cultivating a sense of purpose and meaning might be an effective strategy for suicide prevention. The complexity of life's conditions implies that having support systems and resources is crucial for navigating challenges. The inference here is that improving support systems could potentially reduce the incidence of suicide by addressing the root causes of despair and hopelessness. Also, by addressing the cognitive dissonance between the individual's own conflicting ideas and beliefs over the sanctity of life and suicidal tendencies. These can be resolved by focusing on the life-affirming aspects as a therapeutic tool for suicide intervention. The lack of control over life's fundamental aspects, such as birth and death, might lead to a conclusion that individuals might feel a greater sense of empowerment or agency by addressing their mental health and seeking help rather than attempting to control the uncontrollable aspect of death. Society plays a role and can help with factors like social isolation, economic hardship, and stigmatization by creating community support centers. economic assistance programs, educational programs, and low-cost to no-cost counseling services. Analyzing the complex issue of suicide to fundamental factors such as mental health, support systems, and one's response and coping mechanism to life's inherent challenges will provide a clearer understanding and result in actionable strategies that are holistic and pragmatic. But life isn't lived in isolation. Our existence is deeply intertwined with others. We are all connected by love, by friendship, by shared experiences. We are connected by the invisible threads of humanity that weave through our lives, binding us together in ways we often don't even realize. Under the social contract perspective, each individual's life contributes to the fabric of society. By ending one's life, you are effectively and essentially ripping out the thread, thereby negatively affecting the social order and stability. When one of these threads is severed, it doesn't just affect the person whose life is lost. It reverberates through the entire web, impacting everyone who has ever loved them, everyone who has ever known them. The pain of loss is not contained to one. It spreads like ripples on a pond, touching the lives of many. To end one's life is to extinguish not just one's own light, but to dim the lights of those around us. It is to leave an unfillable void, a lingering darkness that echoes through the lives of those left behind. It is a decision that, while made in isolation, has profound and far-reaching consequences. Now, let us delve into the spiritual. Across the world's great religious traditions, life is viewed as something sacred, something to be cherished and protected. These traditions suggest that life may be a test, a game, an experiment, a simulation, something far greater than we can fully comprehend. The deontological position means that spreading life, or at least preserving life, seems to be inherent in every organism. In other words, life wants to live. Life will always have intrinsic value in and of itself through its own inherent essence. In Christianity, the sanctity of life is sacred and given by God. Therefore, the unlawful taking of life by any means, including suicide, is against divine will. The most important gift is life, and the giver was God, and the taker is God. This idea is central and inviolable. In Judaism, the principle of pekuach nefesh, which prioritizes saving a life above almost all other commandments, underscores the sanctity of life. The focus is on preserving life under all circumstances. In Islam, the sanctity of life is paramount. The Quran teaches us that to kill even one person is as though we have killed all of humanity, and to save one person is as though we have saved all of humanity. Suicide, therefore, is not just a personal tragedy. It is seen as an act that violates the very essence of what it means to be human. It is a loss not just to the individual, but to their family, their community, and to the world at large. Taoism philosophy emphasizes living in harmony with the Tao, the natural order of the universe. Suicide is seen as disrupting this harmony and goes against the flow of life. Taoism encourages finding balance and inner peace, even in difficult circumstances. In Hinduism, for instance, there is a belief in karma, which is the idea that our actions in this life will have consequences in the next. Suicide, within this framework, is seen as a tragic act that disrupts the natural flow of karma, leading to a cycle of rebirth and re-death known as samsara. The soul is bound to repeat its journey, to face again the suffering it sought to escape, until it learns to transcend the pain and reach moksha, or liberation. To summarize, if you thought you had it bad in this life, then suicide would only increase your suffering in your next incarnation. Buddhism offers us a different, yet equally profound perspective. The Buddha taught that life is inherently filled with suffering, an unavoidable part of the human condition. But he also taught that this suffering can be overcome, not by ending one's life, but by letting go of our desires. The desires for wealth, for beauty, for status, these are the things that often lead to suffering. It's the constant and instant need for the satisfaction of all of our wants that is the source of our suffering from this perspective. Instead, if we focus on our needs and on what is truly essential, we can find a way to live that is sustainable, meaningful, and filled with peace. In this way, life becomes not a burden to be cast off, but a journey toward enlightenment. The goal is not to escape life, but to understand it, to embrace it, and to find the peace that lies within the very heart of existence. Because without light, there can be no life, and without life, there can be no love. What ties these perspectives together is the recognition that life is a sacred trust, a gift that has been given to us and one that we must honor. Each breath we take, each moment we experience is a chance to grow, to learn, to love. Even in the darkest moments, when the weight of the world feels too heavy to bear, there is a light within us, a light that refuses to be extinguished. This light is the spark of the divine, the essence of who we truly are. It is the part of us that yearns for life, for connection, for meaning. It is the part of us that knows, deep down, that we are here for a reason. It is upon the mirror of our hearts that we illuminate from within, and from our good deeds in thoughts, words, and actions that shines without. This light is our guide along the path of life. It reminds us that, while we may not control the circumstances of our birth or the challenges we face, we do have the power to choose how we respond. We can choose to seek help, to reach out, to hold on. Don't fight back. Fight forward for life and fight toward living, day by day. Resilience, in this context, becomes not just a personal virtue, but a spiritual one. It is the strength to endure, to persist, to keep going even when the path is steep and the night is dark. It is the courage to face life head-on, to confront our fears, our doubts, our pain, and to emerge on the other side stronger and more compassionate. I know that for some, these words may feel distant. When you're in the depths of despair, logic can seem cold, and spiritual wisdom can seem out of reach. Hope can feel like a foreign concept, something that belongs to others, but not to you. You have to keep in mind that this is a temporal perspective, as emotions and perspectives can change over time. Suffering is real, but what feels unbearable today might feel more manageable tomorrow with the right support and intervention. Many who have survived suicide attempts report later finding meaning and happiness, even after enduring severe hardship. This is indicative of those decisions made in moments of intense suffering, just like decisions made in moments of intense anger, might not reflect long-term realities. But I want to say this: you are not alone. We are all in this together, bound by the shared experience of being human. And in that shared experience, there is immense power. The power of hope and empathy, the power of light and love, the power of connection and creation, not loneliness and destruction. Additionally, we need to take into consideration that there are always unexpected breakthroughs and new discoveries, such as medical advancements furthered with artificial intelligence, new psychological therapies, evolving support systems, and even holistic approaches to psychiatry and prescription medicine, such as the use of psilocybin to treat PTSD, depression, and drug and alcohol addiction. For those suffering from extreme physical pain, there is comprehensive palliative care that focuses on mental and physical relief from pain in cases of terminal illness or chronic pain. This specialized care can improve quality of life and alleviate suffering through medical, psychological, and social support rather than ending life. This approach respects the dignity of a person while addressing their pain. We must cultivate empathy not just for others, but for ourselves. We must recognize that asking for help is not a sign of weakness, but of strength. That choosing to stay, to endure, to live, is a profound act of courage. The response will be non-judgmental open arms and genuine empathy. For those of us who are not in that dark place, we have a responsibility to be the light for others, to listen, to reach out, to offer a hand. You may never know how much your presence, your kindness, your love can mean to someone who is suffering. You may never know the difference you can make in someone's life. Remember, if you feel something, say something. In closing, I want to leave you with a thought that I hope will stay with you. Life is a journey. It is often difficult, often painful, but always worth taking. The night may be long, but the morning will come. The burdens may be heavy, but we are not alone. The path may be steep, but we are guided by a light that never fades. Remember, we are all in this together, and your voice matters. Your life matters, and together we can find the strength and the light to carry on. Let us hold fast to the promise of dawn through hope, harmony, and happiness. Let us choose life, for in doing so, we honor the mystery, the sacred trust, and the light within us all. And let us carry that light into the world, knowing that each life is a precious thread in the grand tapestry of existence. Thank you.